Now, I told you we had a shot at reaching that 114,000, the trend line from the previous highs. If the count can continue here in the weekly time frame, it got canceled out. So I think it's starting to look more and more likely that the larger corrective move has possibly begun. If we set up another lower high, again, we could correct into July. Now, July 4th, they're supposed to get the tax bill done and signed. It's supposed to be on the president's desk to sign what they're shooting for. The markets could have a positive reaction to the tax cuts, hopes that they work their way into markets. Bitcoin had that 9 count in play. We were watching bar 8. Bar 8, we got up to bar 7 here, bar 8. We ended up closing below the bar from 4 weeks ago. I talked about this in my previous updates. Got canceled out. We got a doji candle, canceled out the count. We still have a 13 count that could develop later or even now if the correction has not begun, but it's starting to look like it has begun. I'll show you bullish and bearish counts, and maybe the stock market goes to the new high, is catch up to Bitcoin. Bitcoin does what it did back in January, peaks before the market peaks. A few weeks before the market peaked, Bitcoin peaked in January, on January 20th. Later, a few weeks later, the market peaked on February 19th. Sometimes Bitcoin will top and bottom at the same time. Other times they bottom at the same time. They both bottomed on April 7th, but the market's still playing catch up to Bitcoin. Remember that. And this is starting to look like maybe the correction has started. I'll show you the charts and let you decide. Our 9 count here was canceled out, so we could be in the correction already. We're going sideways. That's why it was canceled out. Closed below the bar from 4 weeks ago here in the weekly time frame. Don't forget, we had those 13 counts, I told you, and again, that could negate that 8 count, which apparently it is. We had the 13 count. This is Coinbase. It completed right here. Other exchanges, it completed with this bar because here it completed because we are above that bar 8. I talked about that. Other exchanges, we were just below it, and this was the 13 bar marking a peak on some exchanges. For instance, here on a Binance, that wide range bar was for the lower high, was the 13 count. Now remember, I talked about having the 13 count going a little bit lower over here. I talked about getting a 13 count and possibly going a little bit higher. In the bullish case, it's starting to look like we're probably going to set up a lower high if this is corrective. In my videos, I've been talking about the bullish and the bearish count. If you have a 5-3-5 pattern developing here, which it looks like that is the case, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then an ABC back up for the lower high, and then now we're getting 1, and then we're getting 2, and then you get 3, 4, and 5 as we come down into the 200 period moving average, and likely into the, let me just redraw this, into the 100 period moving average. Here's the 100 period on the Bitcoin daily chart. 50 got above the 200. The 50 is a green line. The black line is the 200 period. Again, we're likely going to move towards the 100 period moving average, towards the 200, maybe drop below it. Going follows the 100 period moving average. We're above it. You're likely going to pull back to it at some point. If this correction has now begun, again, you're likely going to test that 100 period moving average in the low 90,000 level and probably get another 5-leg push lower for a 5 being A, and then getting this ABC for B, and then we'll probably get a C if that is in fact going to set up another lower high here at the resistance zone, not being able to clear the peak over here on May 22nd, not being able to clear the lower high that was set up here in June. Again, what I talked about before is, do we complete that 8 count, the 8 count, or the 9 count in the weekly time frame? It got canceled out, so this count might be overriding it and giving us that lower high scenario. Are bouncing off the 50 period moving average. We did it here. We're doing it here. Get a lower high. Could sell off into July, early July. Just before the July 4th Independence holiday or shortly thereafter. The 9th is when the 90-day pause on the tariffs, buyers could see that pause extended, and the markets could rally on that as well, along with possibly the tax cuts expected to be signed into law right about that time on July 4th. That's what they're shooting for. That's the goal. We'll see if they get it accomplished or not. Congress is trying to have it on the president's desk by July 4th. Bitcoin daily chart here. So I'm going to be watching. Do we get a lower high? That's starting to look likely. We're going sideways. This move is a much bigger corrective move than what we've seen so far. So again, it's possible, very possible, wave one is done here, and this is the ABC larger correction, and we're just going sideways. You get a lower high, then sell-off, then I think that is extremely likely. I was leaning towards reaching that 114 to 116,000 area, but again, this is going sideways for a long time, so I think it's becoming less likely unless we have a 4 here. We're now in 5, and we can clear the resistance zone. So again, I've talked about Elliott wave of speculation. Again, I don't trade it. I trade my indicators. But again, I use it to try to confirm. I am looking for a wave 1 to complete, and maybe it did over here, as I've said, and I'm open-minded to that. Starting to look like maybe that is the case because it looks like a 5, 3, and possibly a 5. Another 5 might set up, taking us into this area, taking us into the July 4th Independence Day holiday, a corrective move for a few weeks. Just showing you the charts. Let you make up your own mind what you think, but very well could be in that corrective move. Those are the two scenarios that I think are in play. The bears tell us, oh, here comes the next leg down of the bear market and all this stuff. The same people that told us we were going to crash down here in this rally of 50% was never going to happen when I called the day of the bottom because I have good indicators and predicted this rally. Here, the choppiness has been a little bit more difficult to determine if a top is in. I mean, I've been a little more uncertain about my counts. Again, one count is that the wave 1 is not done yet. The other count is wave 1 is done. And maybe that is the case because this is now looking like a possible 5-3-5 corrective pattern. Here, got clear signals. Got some topping signals here. Not all signals topped out. And so again, more uncertainty. Signals aren't always going to be perfect. No indicator is perfect. Looking for clues and showing you the bullish and bearish case, and it looks like maybe the bearish case, where we're in the correction right now, might in play because of the size of this sideways move. It looks corrective now, 5-3-5 potentially in play. I want to say this again. I'm doing two things just real fast with my trading strategy. One is that again, accumulated positions down at the bottom. First over here, started it right there just above the 200. Here, sold off under the 200, here, and then again here. Indicators were warning me of bottoms at those times. I was speculating at the 200 period, starting my position. In my positions, I'm doing two things. One is I'm taking a position and holding it. That's my core position, and holding it and ignoring short-term price fluctuations because I believe Bitcoin is going much higher. I'm also swing trading it, which is what I have been doing to play the wave 1. Caught most of this move back up. I'm accumulating the position at the lows, sold into the rally right there on May 21st, the highs, selling 75% of the position, keeping 25% of it. Still questioning whether the rally was done, but my strategy was to sell into the rally. Kept 25% of it, bought the 75% back right here. Went a little bit lower. I told you we might go to the 50. We might go to that 200, just beyond that 200 period in the 4-hour time frame. We ended up doing that. And now this rally's failed. So I'm probably going to sell into the rally, the entire swing trade position, the entire thing, and then just wait and see if we bust up through this area or not. I'd even consider a short right here. This ends up setting up a lower high. Then again, down in this area, the 100, the 200 period moving average, likely in the low 90,000 range, 91, 92, 93,000, somewhere in there, looking to accumulate my swing trade position back on the long side if this is corrective, and it very well could be, but that's my trading strategy. So again, for me, in advance, I'm going to sell into the rally here, into the resistance zone. I think we'll go a little bit higher. I think you got a shot now at a lower high for a 1, a 2, a 3, and then going into early July there, a 3, 4, and a 5. I think that is very, very possible right now because we've taken too long now. Please support the channel with the link directly below. That allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the charts, you like the indicators, let me know that by supporting the channel today. The link below to take you to a secured site. You can donate any amount you want to make it a recurring donation. If you do that, I thank you. If you can take a moment to help out, I would really, really appreciate it. Most channels supported with sponsors. I choose not to do that. I ask that you partner with me and do what you can to help out. Thank you for your consideration for that. Watch the video all the way through. I'll show you some of my indicators, bag of signals. I'll show you the possibilities. The wave counts, we are clearly going sideways. Now, I've talked to you about both bullish and bearish scenarios. A bearish scenario says we've already peaked at this trend line. Remember this trend line excluding the shadow, that we've already peaked at it. We just overthrew the 111,000 area, hit a peak at 112. We're now in the corrective move, and we're going to eventually make our way back to the 100 and the 200 period moving average, get a right shoulder, and we've already peaked and we're getting the pullback right now. And we're going sideways. Bullish scenario for the short term is that we pop up higher to the 114 to 116,000 area, and that getting this divergence. Still possible. As I've said, this does look like a 5-leg push down, followed by a 3, and maybe we're getting another 5 right now with a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we end up pulling back to that 100 period moving average. I'm starting to think maybe that is the case. Down here, I got clear signals of a bottom. Up here, I did not get clear signals of a top. We're at this peak right here, but we're going sideways, and that's probably why. But at these two peaks, I did get clear signals of tops at both the December and the January highs. So again, it's rallying right now. We're up about 2%. I think that both scenarios are still in play. I'm probably going to sell into the rally and then wait and see what happens. But again, we may get a powerful move that just blows right past this level if we're in a wave 5 right here, if this was a 4 and a 5 still in play. Again, Elliott wave is speculation. I'm talking about both counts in this video. I might sell and we still go higher. Just letting you know that. That's certainly still, this scenario is still possible. Going up to this trend line, these highs pointing to the next high, but I told you we hit this trend line excluding the shadows. It might have peaked before the stock market back at the May 22nd peak. Peaked in January before the stock market peaked in February. Coin may have peaked on January 22nd. You see a June peak with the S&P and the NASDAQ. Certainly possible. Bitcoin leads the way up and down. My original prediction was we would see a divergence here. Not so sure about that now, just letting you know. Now I'm going to try to lock in gains down here. We may blow past that level. Be completely wrong about that, but again, this is dragging out now. Maybe the correction has already begun with the peak over here. But these possible divergences, we still could see the MACD recycle back up and get it. If this is 4, and that's why I'm saying that I'm going to try to sell into the rally, but if we end up just doing it quickly and blowing past this level, then I might stick with it. Watching this area and possibly selling into the rally for a lower high, but this can happen quickly. Watching it, we may just blow right past it, and I might just try to ride it higher if that's the case. I haven't put in a sell order. If I don't do that, that's not going to be triggered. So I'm just kind of watching it because, again, we could still have this other scenario play out. So that's the way I'm playing it. You play it how you want. Again, it's my intention to sell, but if we blow past this level, then I'll stick with it. I'm not putting a sell order in. I'm just watching it. Divergence is still in play, although we may have gotten a lower high and might be in the pullback here. Again, regardless, again, the bears are telling us we're, now about to have the next leg down of the bear market and all this other stuff. I think you either get the pop and the pullback or you're in the pullback right here, right now, which again, I wasn't convinced that was the case. Now it's starting to look more like that because we are kind of going sideways here. Like I said, though, this could still be 4 and we get the 5 here. I'm not ruling that out. I'm just saying my original conviction isn't so convincing to me anymore because of the length of the sideways move. It's possible that we get the divergence on that RSI in the daily time frame if this scenario plays out. And again, this is the bullish scenario where we have, a 1, 2, a 3, a 4, and now we're and 5, and it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we come up here into the 114 to 116,000 area. Still may play out. Again, I don't know the future. I'm just a trader. I look at support and resistance levels, look at probability. Could be an ABC right here for an A, a B, and then this whole thing being a C for a 5-leg push down. Certainly possible. Could also easily be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5-leg push down. So again, with speculation, use it to try to determine price direction by validating or invalidating counts. The 2 counts I have. I do not have a count where we're going to go take out this low. I am not of the belief that that's going to be the case. I do not believe Bitcoin is topping. Either having a short-term top already put in or about to get one for a pullback. That's what I believe. A bullish scenario that we still go higher before the bigger pullback. Going sideways, this is becoming less and less likely, but it's still in play, still a possibility. My original thought now becoming less likely. So my alternative count is starting to look more and more likely, but as I've said, there's still some bullish things that, again, this could just be the 4, like I said, and then we're in the 5 right now. We have pring parameter, the bullish things like pring parameter, trying to firm up here. Now, maybe it fails. Maybe it turns up and it goes right into negative territory. The divergence did give us the peak back in May. Down we firmed up. The firming up here at the center line has given us the rally back up. Establish a lower high and start turning back down, seeing signals all turn bearish. You'll likely see this go negative. If it firms up here, still have a chance that we reach the 114 to 116,000 area, that the wave 1 isn't done. You know, if you know the future, you have one up on me, because again, I'm just telling you, I'm a trader and I look at support and resistance. I'm looking at this. We're going sideways. This count, my alternative count, looks like it's got a shot now at playing out if we establish a lower high right here below the resistance zone, as I've talked about in this video and my last video. Do we have an ABC move in a 535 pattern? Certainly possible. Regardless of which way it plays out. Look, I'm longer term bullish on Bitcoin. I believe it's going to go to 150 to 175,000 once the correction is done. The question now, is the correction done? And we've got a mixed bag of signals. We're going sideways. The signals are doing their job. They tell you when prices are trending down. They tell you when prices are trending up. Right now we're going sideways. They're telling you we're going sideways. So again, the correction very well could be underway. This was my alternative count. It's starting to look like this has a shot of playing out. I wanted to show you the charts, let you make up your own mind. I'm going to try to sell into the rally, but again, the rallies on Bitcoin can be powerful and quick, and we may just blow right past this resistance zone. I'm going to try to sell into the rally. If we get a rally that's quick and it goes past it, I may just hang on to it. Again, I do not have a sell order in this area. I'm just looking at it and watching it out the Bitcoin sessions. It goes through this level real fast, then I may not get a chance to sell it, and I might just try to ride it higher. But right now, it's my intention to try to sell my position with a possible lower high to set up, and then just play the waiting game and wait it out and see what happens if we can move to new high. But this count is looking more and more likely. Again, a 5-leg push over here, a 3-leg push back up for A and B, and then possibly a C going into Independence Day or just after Independence Day, the 4th of July. The tax bill is probably going to be done and signed by July 4th. That's what they're shooting for. I don't know if they get it done, but that's what they're shooting for. July 9th, right after Independence Day, we could see an extension of the pause of the tariffs. To get another announcement about tariffs here less than 2 weeks about the tariffs. Trump administration, could that rattle markets? Maybe. We'll see what happens with it. Again, if this scenario says wave 1 is done here and that we're now in wave 2, this was my alternative account, starting to look like it's more and more likely going to play out. I have no idea which count's going to play out. My conviction before was we were going to go up to 114,000. I'm not so sure right now. I'm a trader. I'm not Nostradamus. I'm just a trader that looks at support and resistance and mathematically based indicators, which are telling me we're going sideways. That's what my indicators are saying, which makes this count a possibility. I got some signals that marked this as a peak right here. Okay, and again, that told me we're either going to get a pullback or a reversal. we're getting the larger sell-off for wave 2, then it's give us a short-term reversal for a larger pullback, not a smaller pullback, but a larger one. Some of these other pullbacks were just smaller corrective moves. Over here, marked a bottom. Here it marked a bottom, but we only got counter trends. Over here it marked the top in January, and over here in December marked the top. Signals tell me when price is getting tired and we're likely going to get counter trend like on the way up, the counter trend on the counter trend on the way down, or reversals like right here, or back over here, or over here, which is this. Was no signal here. Again, we drop below the orange line. We're finding support at the purple line. If we set up a lower high, and still at the resistance zone and come back down, take out the orange line, take out the purple line, take out this low, then again, you're likely coming down towards a Fibonacci retracement towards 100 period moving average, the 200 period moving average, not seen on this chart. But if you know the future, you're one up on me because I don't know the future. I've made some incredible calls. My signal's absolutely amazing, allowing me to make incredible calls, calling the bottom, calling the rally. Here you can clearly see we're going sideways. Point eventually always pulls back to the 100 period moving average. That's that pink line you see right there. Now, if we get a lower high and we start moving down into early July, you can come down here and you can move beyond the 100 period moving average, which is often the case. That could take us to a 50% retracement, 91,000, the 91,350 area, under that area. To backtest the trend line of the double bottom pattern, we'd move closer towards the 61.8 if this high holds. So just some levels I'm watching. That would take us towards 87,000. A shallow retracement would take us to the 200 period area or probably just beyond it to tag the 100 period. That currently, if this high holds, is at 95,850. So I think it's more likely we move towards the 50% retracement if, in fact, we stop making new highs, if, in fact, we get a lower high right here and then come back down towards this area into July 4th. I think that you could come back down into the 50% retracement towards the 91,000 area. There's a gap fill, by the way, with the Bitcoin futures in that area as well. And I believe on the IBIT ETF, the Bitcoin ETF. I just wanted to show you these Fibonacci retracements. If this high holds, these are the Fibonacci's I'm looking at. The 100 period coming in near that 50% retracement. And again, oftentimes you'll drop back below the 100 period to set up a higher low. It's very common. And this count assumes that Bitcoin stops making new highs. Get another lower high to come back and take out the support zone, the low here and the low here. That's the support zone. This is the resistance zone. So again, the bulls push through the resistance zone. The bears need to push through the support zone. And again, we'll get a bigger sell-off. But again, this is it will be a more mild retracement with our Fibonacci's. Bitcoin is bouncing off the yellow ribbon. You got to take this level out to go lower. So again, we're either going to get the lower high and then take it out and get a lower low and get a larger sell-off now, or again, bullish Elliott wave count is in play. Still try to reach the trend line I've talked about. Said it's becoming less and less likely because we're going sideways. Their alternative count has a shot at playing out right now, but right now we're trying to bounce off the ribbon. Bitcoin's up over 2%. Signals here nailed the reversal at the bottom after we had just bottomed, nailed the reversal, and then reaffirmed the bullish signal here, bouncing right here. We'll see what happens up at the resistance zone. Rejection there or blow past that level. Talked about these highs pointing to the next high. Still got a shot at that, but been overthrowing that level. But the alternative count is now equal, just as much possibility of playing out as well. So we'll see which way it plays out. Regardless, we're going to get a higher low at Bitcoin on Bitcoin at some point and go much, much higher. That's the thing we need to know. Just trying to play the swing move here, so I'm watching this closely. My long-term position, I'm doing nothing. Even if we get a bigger pullback. Signals going back and forth here. We're hanging in there on the bullish side, bouncing out the 50 again. I told you here we didn't have any topping signals up here, but it could have been a premature warning sign right here as we went into that high, much like the topping signal here was early. Then we got the reversal bar at the high. Could have been a warning sign. There was no reversal bar at the top here. There was no reversal bar with the lower high here. We did get a reversal bar here at the 50-period moving average. Bar is still red, but again, going back and forth. So again, do we get that lower high and then come back down towards the 100-period moving average? Or is this wave one not done yet? There's still a question mark here. Both scenarios are possible, but if this is a wave 5 leg push down, you've got a possible 5-3-5 pattern. I have shown in this video how it could be an A, B, and a C as well. A late wave of speculation. It's not some fake fortune teller. Got probability, and we're trying to validate or invalidate direction. Again, I'm not trading it, and I'm using my indicators. But like right here, nailed the bottom right here, no signals up here, nailed these tops over here. Was that an early warning signal, or do we not peak yet? I don't know. I'm showing you the support and resistance zone in this video as we're going sideways. Whichever way we break, up through the resistance zone or down through the support zone, that's which way prices are going to move for the short term. Bouncing off horizontal support. I'm sorry I couldn't be of more help, but we are going sideways. Again, my signals, look at them. Blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. We're going sideways. We had the reversal. Again, we got the reversal bar here. We had a trending move. We had a trending move down. The signals mark the trend. But when they go back and forth, when the candles go from blue to red to blue to red, back and forth, it tells us we're going sideways. So again, either scenario is now in play. Wave one either not being done, alternative count of wave one being done over here, odds have started to greatly increase. If we establish a lower high here, then that is likely going to be the case. Counts are still in play, but the alternative count has now started increasing the odds that it may play out. We got the Fed meeting this week. Does the Fed end up disappointing markets? We'll see what happens. Bitcoin peak ahead of the S&P and NASDAQ like it did back in January. And sideways signals back and forth from green to red. Try to turn here. Weekend now turning back up 2.25% right now. So just going sideways. Watch to see if we get a lower high or blow through the resistance zone. If you do, then again, got a shot at reaching the 114 to 116,000 area. Those are greatly increasing if we get another lower high, that the peak was here, and then we're going to come back down and take out that support zone.